Welcome to this edition of the Government News Brief for Tuesday, October 18, 2016. In the news, plans to expand the Charles Rosa Nursing School, East Bank area to get overhead pass to end traffic congestion, and ICT to create benefits for small producers. Stay tuned for the details. Thank you for staying with us. I am Renetta LaFleur. Now for the details. The buildup of traffic along the East Bank Demerara will soon be reduced as the government works toward constructing an overhead pass. More in this report. Projects Manager at the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Sunil Ganesh, says an overhead vehicular pass is to be constructed at Diamond. Ganesh says about 20,000 vehicles use the intersection, so the overhead pass would significantly reduce the backup of traffic. He says there should be a smooth flow of traffic coming out of the Diamond Housing Scheme.
In addition to that, also at East Bank, we are building 3 pedestrian overhead crossings. One at the Harbor Bridge, another one at Eccles, and by Houston. So you wouldn't have that vehicle pedestrian conflict, you just walk over.
The overhead pedestrian crossings will be at Houston in the vicinity of the Houston Secondary School, at Eccles on the eastern side of the traffic light, and at the Harbor Bridge next to the Neighborhood Democratic Council building. The bids for the execution of these projects are expected to be published early next month, while works will commence early next year. Meanwhile, the East Bank 4-lane extension project is now completed.
The East Bank 4-lane project from Providence to Diamond is now substantially completed. The work started in 2012 and it involved the construction of a 4-lane from Providence to Diamond, construction of bridges, construction of concrete drains.
The ministry is currently working on installing traffic signs and road markings on certain sections of the road. The East Bank Demerara 4-lane project was rolled out in 2011 and is funded by the Inter-American Development Bank for US $17 million. Renetta LaFleur for the Government News Brief. The government's ICT program could be just the platform small producers are looking for to get them into the international market. More in this Delon Sanko report.
Minister of Public Telecommunication Catherine Hughes says small producers and manufacturers must be able to use ICT to get their products and services to a larger market. Hughes says her ministry will set up ICT hubs in the interland to assist this process. Citing the example of a beautiful hand-woven hammock made by a woman of Surama, Hughes says that ICT hubs can help these women who would no longer have to wait on someone to visit their villages before they can make a sale.
If we are able to put in a post office in Surama, for example, internet access, and that lady gets assistance at that post office in developing a Facebook page. Imagine she could very easily put up pictures of her hammock, the price, a little blurb on what she wants to sell, how she's going to do it, a bit about the indigenous culture, because remember, they're actually taking the cotton and spinning it, and then they are weaving this hammock, so it has a value. Yeah. She could then maybe once a week pop into the post office and spend 15 minutes, half an hour on the internet and see if she has orders. She then would be able, with the same post office, to ship her stuff to Georgetown or to Germany or any part of the world.
Hughes noted that the ICT sector in Guyana has fantastic opportunities for young people and even small producers to be more innovative and actually give them an outlet for their idea. In 2017, the Ministry of Public Telecommunication will be looking into ways to improve the banking system and the international payment system. Delon Sanko for the Government News Brief.
The expansion of the Charles Rosa School of Nursing in Linden is proposed for 2017. Here are the details from Delicia Haynes.
Director of Health Sciences and Education of the Ministry of Public Health, Wilton Ben, says they have put forward the Charles Rosa School of Nursing to be expanded to accommodate nursing and allied health students from hinterland regions.
We're paying attention to the expansion of the Charles Rosa School of Nursing. Emphasis will be directed towards being able to provide more classroom faculty space, because Charles Rosa is the school that focuses heavily on the training of interior people.
The estimated cost for the expansion of the nursing school is $35 million. The school currently houses approximately 80 nursing students who are predominantly from Linden. The expansion will facilitate a new hostel for students from the hinterland that are accommodated at the Watuka Hostel.
I must highlight that we cannot meet the actual demands at the moment. And one of the issues is to do with hostel space, classroom space. The Basic Needs Trust Fund 2 years ago gave us some measure of help by doing some refurbishing of the existing Watuka hostel to accommodate more students. And so that emphasis in 2017 and going forward must be to improve capacity at Charles Rosa School of Nursing, so that they are able to take care of the needs of more interior people.
Meanwhile, an additional $20 million is being requested to build a hostel for nursing students being trained in New Amsterdam. These students come from Oriella in the Berbice River, Baracara in the Kanji River, and some areas of Region 5. These expansions will strengthen healthcare systems by ensuring that healthcare professionals are able to access quality education and training throughout Guyana. For the Government News Brief, I am Delicia Haynes.
As the Veterans Commission of Inquiry wraps up, retired military ranks are asking to be better reintegrated into civilian society. Paul McAdam has the details.
Retired Warrant Officer Lennox Hardy believes that more should be done to prepare soldiers for a life outside of the Ghana Defense Force. Hardy was one of the many veterans appearing before the commission set up to inquire into conditions and circumstances facing retired members of the military.
Your preparation, to my mind, should start 2 years prior to your retirement. And I would challenge the personnel department to play a key role in this venture.
Former Private Kelvin McKenzie believes that the skills of veterans should be utilized in the various sectors of civil society for the development of the country.
We should be part and parcel of the school systems, whereas we must have college course and assist to molding and fashioning our youths to taking over our country.
Veterans also called for the establishment of a health insurance scheme within the Ghana Defense Force to aid former soldiers later on in life.
We need to have the state or the army, as to say, some way to be able to ensure active ex-soldiers' lives.
We should have a doctor here every week to see that we should get medication.
The COI is being chaired by retired Colonel Desmond Roberts of the Ghana Defense Force. The COI met with ex-soldiers from all across Guyana and will be wrapping up its hearings at the end of this month. The findings will then be presented to President David Granger. Paul McAdam, the Government News Brief.
Over the weekend, the culture group out of Surama was able to share aspects of the local indigenous culture with their counterparts from the U.S. Isaiah Braffett reports.
It was an exchange of information and practices when the music group Matuta from the U.S. met with the Surama Culture Group last Saturday at the Indigenous Heritage Village, Sophia.
I think they have learned a lot, about the nations of Guyana, and they got to listen to at least 4 different nations here, right in this gathering. And they realize for themselves that they're unique, unique languages. They have their unique twangs and words and so on. So I think it's a good thing.
Leader of Matutu, Clay Ross, says that the meeting with the indigenous group was an amazing experience.
Indigenous people of Guyana. It was a great opportunity to gain a little bit of insight into the ways of life of the indigenous people here, the current conditions for indigenous people here. We learned about the multiple tribes that exist here, that still exist, the different languages that exist here, and just how people today and indigenous cultures today are coping with modern existence and modern life, and trying to build bridges between their ancient ways of life and modern ways of life.
The minister says that there is a revival of the indigenous culture. She is urging all Guyanese to learn more about the way of life and customs of the various indigenous tribes as they are part of the broader Guyanese culture. This is the first time that the Matuta group has visited Guyana. Members plan to visit several indigenous villages in Guyana. Isaiah Braffett for the Government News Brief.
We have come to the end of today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on Gina's website. Gina has an active Facebook page, and we encourage you to visit and like us so you can be informed as the news unfolds. Do join us again tomorrow for another edition of the Government News Brief. I am Renetta LaFleur, thanking you for watching.